Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to say that I have just now, for the first time in my life, made a fan commentary track on my own. I was watching a movie and just watching it and then speaking out loud as I was watching it, and then I recorded all the comments that I made as I was watching the film. And I prepared a commentary track for this. It's for the film, which is from 1962, which is Dr. No. It's a James Bond film, Dr. No. I've had the great opportunity on this channel to speak about the James Bond films, and I really love the films, and I'm such a fan of the films. I have been ever since I was a little kid. And that includes the film Dr. No. And so what I've done is I've made a fan commentary track. The full commentary track is going to be made available for Patreon subscribers on my Patreon page. So if you're interested, my dear friends, I'm going to make it available for my friends over at the Patreon page, for paid subscribers at the Patreon page. If you're interested, please check it out. But let me give you some excerpts from the commentary track in case you're interested. And if you are interested to hear more, please let me know, and I would certainly be very thankful for the encouragement. I made this commentary track, and it's not like going through the history of the production details. There have been so many discussions on Dr. No, much better than I could ever do. But the only thing I could do is just talk about it as a fan, talking about it as a fan as I'm watching the film. And so that's all I've done, is speak about it as a fan of the film. And just talking aloud as I go along. So if you are interested, here are some excerpts from the commentary track itself. Just in case you are interested. Again, the full commentary track will be made available for my friends, the paid subscribers at Patreon. And I want to thank my dear friends at Patreon very much for your continued support and encouragement of me and of the YouTube channel. I very much appreciate it. So here is a little bit of my way of trying to show my thanks to you, my dear friends at Patreon. And I'll try to continue it for films in the future if you are interested. I had a lot of fun doing it. Again, I acknowledge it's not the best commentary track around. It's pretty all over the place and quite random. So I apologize for them. I tend to be quite scatterbrained when it comes to these sorts of things. But in any event, here are some excerpts. So again, the full commentary track will be made available on my Patreon page. You can find the information below. But here are some excerpts just in case you are interested. Again, my dear friends, thank you so much. I hope you're well, and we'll see each other again, hopefully very soon. Until then, be well and cheers. But this is, of course, the introduction to the world of James Bond with that wonderful, iconic logo and the opening, the gun barrel. Although I must say, when I was a kid growing up, it never reminded me of a gun. I mean, I've never seen the inside of a gun barrel in my life, so I wouldn't be one to remark whether it's an accurate depiction of what an inside of a gun barrel looks like. I always thought it looked like an ostrich, like an ostrich feather or something. So it was like an ostrich walking across the screen there. Somehow or another, the center of it would be this man walking and suddenly shooting. Here we have the hat-wearing gentleman, which we assume is James Bond, doing a huge jump there. That's really great. Of course, among all the sandwich motifs that we heard, we heard the James Bond theme at the beginning, and then we heard the percussion beats, and then we had the Three Blind Mice song. So it's a sandwich of three different musical motifs, which is interesting. I always liked the James Bond theme, which opens this. It's a really iconic theme, probably one of the most famous themes in all of late 20th century Western cinema. But there's no lyrics to it, and so when I was a kid, I would be just making up lyrics as I was going, da 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 da, and it'd be the film Dr. No, so it would be like, Dr. No, Dr. No. I just randomly assigned the phrase Dr. No to various phrases of the James Bond theme. It's kind of fun that way, but I don't know, maybe I'm not the only. I don't think I'm the only one in the world who's done this. Whenever I see Dr. No, incidentally, I always wonder what would it the film Dr. No have been like if there was a song that accompanied this, much like the later films after the formula was established, with a song that was sung by a popular, maybe a pop music artist and stuff. What the song would have been like? It would have been maybe, no, no, no. Are you gonna go that way? No, 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 no. It would have had a lot of no's in the chorus there. But anyway, that's the way the cookie crumbles, though, because this is the first film in the James Bond series that will, of course, become firmly established after the success of Dr. No, and then the following film, From Russia with Love and Goldfinger. We'll, of course, talk about that momentarily. But before we go there, let's turn back to the movie here. And we have a very violent set of scenes here. With there we go. And look at Bond here trying to be sneaky here and take the box with the Beretta. Oh, gosh. You see that? He's got it under the box here. You see, he can't hide things, 007. He tries to, but there's a scene a little bit later in the film where he's having dinner with Dr. No and he tries to hide a knife, but Dr. No catches him, It's the same thing here. He tried to hide the Beretta, but M caught him. So Bond is having trouble hiding things in this film. I don't know. He should try to be a bit more stealth, but who am I to say? I mean, I'm terrible at trying to hide things, and the like. If I were trying to hide a Beretta underneath a box, I'm sure M would have caught me a million miles away. But I'm sure Bond here is much more stealth in those departments than I am. But who am I to complain? Anyway. Back to Bond. Here we have, I think, Bond's apartment. Look at that. And look at that closing the door with his foot there. I don't know. Has anyone ever tried to do that when they've entered the house and the like? I don't know. I mean, I usually try to, maybe I do that if I'm carrying groceries in both hands, but never if I have a free hand. I think he had a free hand there, but for whatever reason, he decided to close the door with his foot. It's interesting. It reminds me a little bit of feet in James Bond films, and I wonder, skipping ahead to another film which is called From Russia with Love, that's a film that's really key with feet. And I wonder what Rosa Klebb does every time she enters her apartment. Does she do the same thing? Does she close the door with her foot? And if so, does it get caught because she's got that knife in her shoe? But anyway, going back to Dr. No, here we go. We have Sylvia Trench. So Sylvia Trench makes a surprise appearance here. And she changed into something more comfortable, as she points out here. And look at the pictures on the back there, those cars, those vintage cars. That's a really nice touch. But here we have a very passionate scene between Sylvia Trench and James Bond. They seem to be sharing a kind of mutual attraction. Although I must say, I'm still convinced, or part of me still thinks that Sylvia Trench is probably thinking, I mean, she's probably attracted to Bond, sure, but she's also thinking, I want to get some of my money back that I lost earlier at the card game. Also, we had a little shot of her playing golf on the floor there. She missed her shot because Bond burst in at the moment there when she made her shot. Bond's pretty good at that in terms of making the other person mess up on their golf shot. Sylvia Trench messed up her golf shot here, and then if you think about Goldfinger, when he's playing golf with Art Goldfinger, he throws like a huge gold bar in front of his way, and Goldfinger misses a really easy putt. So I don't know, James Bond's pretty good when it comes to playing golf, at least in terms of distracting his opponents so that they miss seemingly easy shots. But anyway, I think I always like to play that game in my head about, oh gosh, what would things be like if James Bond were to play in like a golf tournament, maybe the Masters, a PGA golf tournament? If you were a pro golfer playing there, how would he do? Would he be distracting all his opponents by either bursting with his gun or throwing gold bars all over the place so they miss easy putts? I don't know. It depends on who the players. Oh gosh, I have to stop here. There's Felix Leiter opening the newspaper there, and listen to that burst of the James Bond theme. I love it. The James Bond theme is used throughout the series in these exciting moments. James Bond crashing through a plane, or James Bond's car flying through the air, da 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 da. And here we have Felix Leiter opening a newspaper and walking away. Felix Leiter's opening a newspaper and folding it in half, and then walking away as James Bond's walking into the phone booth. Yeah, I love that. All right. See, look at this. The red motif with coral is great, and the red striped box. I like how the boxes are upside down too. And he's got that. Okay, here we go. Now, Pussfeller has grabbed him from behind. Right? Pussfeller wrestles alligators, so that's why. But look at that. Gosh, he wrestles alligators, but look at that. That doesn't stop Bond from very easily, seemingly easily, just throwing him aside like that. Look at that. So all those wrestling alligators didn't stop Pussfeller from, didn't prevent, it didn't help Pussfeller in subduing Bond, right? Or maybe it's just a testament to the fact that Bond maybe is really good at wrestling alligators, right? I mean, we'll think about the film maybe later in the Bond canon. I think it's called Octopussy, yes, where Bond is, there's alligators or crocodiles. And so, he seems to be handling alligators or crocodiles very well in that film. And also there's a movie called Live and Let Die. And he seems to be handling himself very well in a situation involving right, a similar type of animals. So maybe James Bond is naturally astute at wrestling alligators. That's why he was able to subdue Pussfellow as easily as he did. But in any event, so great. And look at that. I love watching the scene and watching the people in the background behind Bond swaying their arms and dancing. I'm saying it quite affectionately. I'm a terrible dancer, and these people in the background dance much better than I could ever hope to achieve. So, who am I to say? But so you get, this is a multi-leveled film, Dr. No, because you get in the foreground this key, very intense discussion about Crab Key, Dr. No, and the samples and possibility of radioactivity, and the disappearance of Strangways. In the background, look at those people swaying their arms back and forth behind Sean Connery. Oh, it's wonderful. Look at that. Look at that guy in the blue shirt, and that woman in the left-hand side with the red striped shirt. Oh, and then Felix Leiter's pronunciation of the word and the name, Dr. No. I love that. When the names are of the villains are announced in these films, I love that. So there's Felix Leiter when he says Dr. No, and then I love Kamal Khan's pronunciation of the name in the film Octopussy, Octopussy, Octopussy. And there's of course also the pronunciation of Pussy Galore by Sean Connery, Pushy, Pushy. I love that too. But here's Felix Leiter's Dr. No. In any event, yes, Miss Taro now is laying down on the bed quite seductively and talking to James Bond over the phone, but to his doom. So, yes, driving to the cement factory, turning left, follow the road. I hope he's writing down all these directions, because I don't know if I were just on the phone with Miss Taro and she's telling me all these directions suddenly, I would be lost. I'm hope he's written down all these directions, but he's James Bond, and I'm Daisuke Beppu. Who am I? I mean, who am I compared to James Bond? Who am I compared to anyone? But James Bond, I'm sure, would remember things much more than I. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning. But in any event, yes, he's driving, and now we've got the James Bond theme. He's driving alone down a gravelly road. Da, da, da. That's great. But then suddenly, yes, the car, and it's great. When the car chase starts, that's when the James Bond theme ends. I love it. It's great. And we've got now back projection Sean Connery driving. It's really wonderful. So take a look at this. Take a look at so look at the scene where he's driving around the curve. I swear that scene's going to get repeated as we get shots of that. I swear you're going to see that. See, I think that's the same curve that they're driving around. I think you're going to see one more time that same curve. I want to say. There we go. I think that's the same curve. But anyway, and it's the economy of shooting. Good on Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli for economizing the shooting where possible, saving on the budget. But look at Sean Connery and the look at how he's turning that steering wheel, he's just turning it, and I love it. And just note his jaw. Look at that jaw, and he's just so angry, just wanting to drive out of there. So there's a lot of jaw-mouth acting on the part of Sean Connery, and a lot of steering wheel turning in that scene, which is great. You'll see maybe later in the James Bond franchise, especially in the Pierce Brosnan era, how you see a lot of jaw clinching and mouth acting. I think Sean Connery gives a good mouth acting example here when he's driving here in the back projection scene, again together with the combination of that intense steering wheel turning. It's amazing. Although, I'm living in Los Angeles now, and I have to try to keep a steady hand as I'm driving down the 405. But man, gosh, in my heart, especially when you get to traffic and just. There are times when I feel like oh gosh, I want to drive like Sean Connery down the 405 like he's driving down here in Doctor No. But oh well. We can only live to dream, I suppose. But anyway. Oh yes, I also forgot the dragon. Remember, there's the myth of the dragon on Crab Key, which is one of the reasons I think that Quirrell was very hesitant in wanting to explore Crab Key to begin with, because he thinks that there's a dragon there. But in any event, yes, it'd be nice to see the dragon. And Sean Connery and Quirrell to confront the dragon of Crab Key. Of course, we know that the dragon is not really a quote-unquote dragon, but it's something else. But we'll see that a little bit later as the film progresses. But I might as well say it now before I forget. It's interesting to see Sean Connery confront a quote-unquote dragon. It reminds me of what could have been had Sean Connery been cast as Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings films. Remember the film The Fellowship of the Ring? I know I'm not sure if Balrog is officially speaking a dragon per se, but it has a similar kind of dragon vibe to it. But could you imagine Sean Connery on Crab Key confronting the dragon, and he says, "You shall not pass." Yes. And then but anyway. Yes. Okay, here we go. So remember before how I said that, James Bond in Dr. No, he hates tarantulas, and he hates mosquitoes, and he hates coffee. Well, here's the reason why he hates coffee. Okay, now watch this. So remember earlier in this, when they're exploring Crab Key, and he's like, damn mosquitoes, and he's just swiping away those mosquitoes like crazy there. He really hates mosquitoes. Well, here we're going to find out he really hates coffee. He has a similar reaction. When he says, damn coffee, he just throws it out. He hates mosquitoes and he hates coffee. So, don't invite Sean Connery to be part of a David Lynch Twin Peaks episode, right? Could you imagine him drinking coffee in a Twin Peaks episode? He's like, damn coffee, Anyway. But the reason why he doesn't like coffee here, it's a legitimate reason, right? Because it's been spiked with some kind of sleeping agent, so it makes them sleepy almost immediately. Look at this. Almost it's quick affecting. Look at that. Now watch this. Damn coffee. Ugh. I don't know what he hates more, coffee or mosquitoes. That's a good question, or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, how would I answer that question? Maybe mosquitoes. I don't know, because he did drink the coffee, so he was willing to drink the coffee first, but. He only didn't like the coffee because it was spiked. But anyway, all right. Now we've got the shadow, the extended long. Yes, and Sandor. Again, I mentioned Sandor. That's his name, I think, from The Spy Who Loved Me. The guard in the background. We'll see him again. We'll talk about Sandor in The Spy Who Loved Me when we get there. I just love his look, his facial look in Spy. But anyway, back to Dr. No. Spectre. So Spectre. So special executive for special event for counter intelligence, revenge, terrorism, extortion. Did I get that right? So Spectre. But in fact, the special, they took the first two letters, right? SP instead of just the first letter. But they took only the first letter of the rest of the word. So in fact, if they just take the first letter of all the words, it really shouldn't be Spectre. It should be Sector, right? Which doesn't sound as cool as Spectre. I don't know, why didn't they just take another word that begins with P? Special, powerful executive, right? That would have solved the problem, no problem. But anyway, but yes, we got a sense of the electric shocks of that cage there. Best be careful with that. And again, more foot action or shoe action, I should say. Again, there's a lot of shoes and feet in the film Dr. No. Here, the shoes are coming in handy, again, trying to push the gate out of the way. You know what? I'm wondering, why is this mesh gate so easy to break? I don't know. I think this is a flaw in the design. I would have made this much tougher. If I were designing this, I would think, this seems like an easy way for someone to escape. And maybe Dr. No and company, it's okay, we'll just electrify it. And then problem solved. Well, they never thought of shoes. Whoever designed that cage or that jail cell didn't think of shoes. So that's a fatal flaw. So anyone out there who's designing jail cells for villain layers, please remember that sometimes the prisoners might wear shoes. So And look at the globe that's blinking back and forth there. Again, that's a really nice touch. The blinking globe as all hell is breaking loose in the world of Dr. No System. Everything and everyone is just, it's being destroyed. And look, everyone is running back and forth. Look, and I like, how he's screaming, honey, honey, honey. Love that. It's great, great. Honey. It's great. Great choice. I love this. And poor guy, he just trips a random guy. Like, how would he know where Honey Riders? Gosh, poor guy. He's just trying to get out of there. He's just, I don't know where. Yeah. Gosh. But again, that's James Bond. Sean Connery's James Bond. He's got a license to kill. He's cruel. I mean, whatever he wants, he's going to get it,